the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. K-Man Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The K-Man Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. Rotary Central, for more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. And Roper's Janitorial, complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential. They get the job done right every time.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Coming to you live from Radio Cayman Studio.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record.
Hear from your government officials, independents, and the opposition on issues that matter to you.
For the Record.
Engage in an open dialogue between residents and lawmakers.
For the Record.
For the Record. For the Record.
Informative, impartial, insightful.
This is your talk show.
1-800-534-8255. Your calls, your input. This is For the Record. And now, your host, Orrett Connor.
Good morning, and welcome to For the Record. Today is Friday, the 10th day of May 2019. Trust that everyone had an enjoyable evening and that you're raring to go today. Those of you who are on the road already or who will be on the road later, whether you be a pedestrian, whether you be a bicyclist, whether you be a motorcyclist, operating any other type of motorized vehicle on the road, we urge you to observe the rules of the road, be courteous, and remember, the life you save may be your own. I want to thank you, our listening and viewing audience, for allowing Radio Cayman and, by extension, For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands, into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. For the Record is a show produced by the staff and management of Radio Cayman, and it is geared towards keeping you abreast of issues as they arise and play out on the local, regional, and international scene. I'm your host, Orrett Connor, and you're welcome to join me every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 7:30 a.m. until 10 a.m. Our phone lines are always open. There is always someone there waiting to take your calls. Normally, that beautiful radio voice of Miss Susan Watson. You can call us on our toll-free number provided courtesy of Flo. That toll-free number is 1-800-534-8255. You can also call us on 949-8037 and 949-6990. If you don't like to talk on the telephone, email us at fortherecord. That is one word, fortherecord at candw.ky. WhatsApp us on 925-3261, where we encourage you to send us a text message or leave us a voice note. And, of course, you can follow us on YouTube simply by subscribing to Radio Cayman live stream. We're going to continue with our birthday thing. One of my listeners told me yesterday that, people believe that they can only call in or send a message about someone having a birthday when I'm hosting the show. So if somebody else is guest hosting, they feel that they can't call. And yes, you can. You know, this is a little additional extra feature that we're going to provide here on For the Record to give people a shout out when they have a birthday. And we will always say, if it isn't your, and even anniversaries as well. Yes, Miss Susan, anniversaries as well. And even if it is not your birthday, celebrate the day like as if it were your birthday. As well. Do that. So we're going to give a shout out to Mr. Winrow Smith, who celebrated a birthday earlier in the week. We didn't get to announce it then, but we want to wish him a belated birthday. And I think a little bird told me that his mother, Miss Lina, may be here in Grand Cayman visiting as well, and we want to wish her well also. I was telling Mr. Chris Saunders and Mr. Alva Suku, our two guests this morning, about last night. Lord Graham did one heck of a grouper rundown last night. A lot of gravy. So And those of you who like to take the rice and then take the gravy and pour it on the rice to soften it, make it a little softer. And to top it off, he had Miss Carmen Connolly from East End, one of the best cooks in East End, her custard top cornbread. I had 2 servings of that and took some home with me. And if I get home today and it hasn't been eaten yet, that's gone too. So whomever I took it for, they may lose out on that as well. And Chris felt real badly about that, but I think it benefits you, Chris. Good morning, guys. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Lucy. You know, I really got to take you to task because my good friend here, I see him in the gym almost every day, working very hard. And now you're going to put temptation in front of him.
I have I have blood pressure issues, for years now, and I was borderline becoming diabetic, and I made up my mind. I said, there is no way I am going to find myself with high blood pressure and diabetes. So, so far I think I've dropped maybe about over 20 pounds already.
Great, congrats.
And part of it is intermittent fasting, where I go, there's a period of time I was drinking water, and then another period where I would just eat certain food. I still try to watch the food that I eat in terms of the sugar content. So I have a set window for eating. So there are times where, and the thing about it, I go 16 hours in between meals.
Okay.
I start with 12 hours, then I do 16. Even if a food comes in and you want a little piece of it, I realize after I take that, I have to go 16 hours. And when I calculate the time, I'm you know what? I'm going to pass because I'm going to give up this little small thing. Just to push me back, especially if you're 4 or 5 hours in.
Yes.
You be like, you just resist the urge, But no, see, you're wrong for that. I am.
Well, it's a good thing you're coming down there this evening rather than yesterday.
Weekends I cheat, and weekends I mostly do it in the middle of the week, and then the weekends because you don't want to force yourself into something that you can't maintain. So 5 days out of the week I maintain it. Then the weekends now I'm like, you know what, tell with it, whatever goes. Because I always try to at least work out just before I come off my fast. So, you're working when you're still hungry, so your body burns more fat. So I've been doing more research on that. But it's kind of weird as I was staring at this pad this morning because I have several different pads I use for different stuff. And I picked up this tab and was noticed I had, this one goes back till 2016 actually. This one started. And I had made a note on it to say, to wish my son happy belated birthday, which was earlier this week. And I dropped him down this morning, Daniel. But then I also had made a note to say congrats to Kenneth Bryan being the first one out. And I realized that Kenneth had declared, I think, the 9th of May 2016. So this will be 3 years in one day now, because today's the 10th, yeah?
Yeah.
3 years in one day since, Kenneth had declared. Long before everybody. So it's just kind of weird when you have all of this stuff coming down. But this morning driving down, because my daughter is doing her exams now, so she goes into school at different times. And coming down this morning and driving through Old Prospect Road, Daniel says to me, Dad, does this car have any suspension? I said, Daniel, one of the things with you young people, as you're becoming more aware of your intelligence and everything, you start to beat around the bush. I said, that's not the question you want to ask me. You want to ask me when I'm going to get a new car. No, I understand. He's born in 2007. I've had that vehicle now since 2004. So for all his life,
15 years.
Yeah, I've had the same vehicle. And he's into cars. And I said, well, if it makes you feel better, Daddy did look at buying a new car. And I'd call your Uncle Ralston at the time. He was living in New York for suggestions on what I think a good vehicle would be. So he says to me, Chris, how much you going to lease or you going to buy? I said, well, Raleigh. And Cayman, we mostly buy cars. We don't have any leasing company like that. This is back then. Now you have a few leasing companies. And he says, what the monthly payment would be? I said, maybe about $500 a month. I said, whoa, that's a lot. He said, how much would gas run? I said, about maybe another $200 and something a month. And he said, about license insurance. So we worked it out, now we started going up. And he says, how much is that in US dollars? When we start adding up everything, he says about maybe $1,200 a month in terms of US, in terms of, maintaining a car.
Yeah.
And he says, wow, Man, I don't spend more than $200 a month on subway fare. So he says, your transportation cost to get around is $1,000 more a month. I'm like, wait a minute. That's $12,000 a year. And over a 40-year working period, that's like almost $500,000. I'm like, tell you that I'm not buying a new car. So I was giving Daniel the story, you know what I mean, in terms of when I start looking up now how long I spend in a car, 30 minutes going, an hour, like a day, and I start adding up, and I'm like, I'm going to spend this much money for something that I want to use in maybe an hour a day, and I'm like, there's no way now that I'm actually, buying this car. So he looks at me and he's like, Mom is really right about you. You take things and then he doesn't multiply them far out. Here is a monthly problem or an annual problem, and I've turned it over into 40 years.
Yes.
And the thing I kind of touched on, why I brought it up this morning, is that that's one of the things that we are missing in this country. I mean, last year, just looking at the numbers that we were given in the last finance committee, when we look at 2 government votes, I think one is NGS 55 or NG 55, and one is HEA 2, and those are just so the public understand. And bear in mind, I could be a little bit off on those numbers because there's still an accountant in me. I think I spent like over 30. The number we were given, I think we mentioned like well over 30 million that was spent on NGS 55, and that is non-HSA healthcare costs for veterans, indigent, and seamen.
Okay.
And then we have HEA 2, which is the HSA-related costs for veteran, indigents, and seamen. And when you look at that, I remember sitting down and saying, well, we spent like over $50 million in 1 year on healthcare costs of veteran, indigents, and seamen. And then I'm like, well, over a 10-year period, that's $500 million. But bearing in mind now that this is something that is growing every year, because I think back in 2016, and again, I'm speaking from memory, back in 2016, I think we had spent about maybe $60 million on NGS 55. And now it was more than double that in a 3-year period. Yeah. And it is this kind of long-term view that we need to take and look at people. And when you look at now, especially when you consider that our pension law has only been in effect a little over 20 years, and if in the private sector, if you're saving 10% of your salary each year, it means then it takes you 10 years to save 1 year's salary. So people who would have not been retiring when the pension law would have come in and been around in 20 years would have only had 2 years' worth of salary saved. And then when you consider...
Unless they put more than what was required.
But the catch is, when you go back then now and consider the 2008 financial crisis, wiped out a good chunk of thing there. We are now sending people into retirement with basically with their pension literally almost being wiped out. You know what I mean? So when you consider all of that, and this is why it's important for us as a people and as a country, not to just look at stuff today. And I think it's important for myself and all my colleagues to recognize that when we pass laws and we're making decisions, we look at what people refer to as a legislative impact analysis, where we try to move things out. We saw it with immigration law, the amount of times that has been changed. We have moved away from the Cayman and Protection Board, and it has gone massively where immigration went a different. You yourself have been there for years, so I really don't have to explain that to you. But it is this uncontrolled runaway where at what point do you sit down and say, wait a minute, let us take a check of where we are, ask ourselves where we really want to go, and then more importantly, you say to the people, how do we get there? This is the kind of, it requires a certain amount of discipline. And the thing about being an accountant, and Al in essence is kind of almost like an engineer with his IT background, is that by nature, we default to our training or our core thing that we have. And I came across an article several months back, and they were talking about the problem with the U.S. Senate. And one of the comments that somebody had made, the problem with it was you had too many lawyers in it. And lawyers are more concerned about winning an argument as opposed to listening to an argument. You don't care what it is you bring. their primary focus is, I just need to win this argument. Because by default, if I accept your position, then it means I've lost the argument.
And there's a defeat.
Yeah. And as a result, a lot of good ideas have gotten lost along the way, simply because you have people in position who just focus on winning an argument as opposed to listening to an argument.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break. When we return, the conversation with MLA Mr. Alba Suku and MLA Mr. Christopher Saunders will continue, so please stay tuned.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, sponsored by Cayman National Bank. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs. The Cayman Islands, he hath founded it upon the seas. Floyd Hulbert Bush, 1911 to 1946. Floyd Hulbert Bush grew up in West Bay. He is said to have had a great sense of humor and was well liked by all. He was married to the former Aletha Perlina Hides, with whom he had one son. As a young man, he was the driver for the first private doctor to come to Cayman, Dr. Thompson. He also fished at Mosquito Keys with his boat, the X-10. At the age of 29, he shipped out to Tampa to look for work and got a place on a merchant marine ship. The ship was captured, and Floyd spent some time as a prisoner of war in Germany. When he came home in 1945, he had severe headaches and finally went to Jamaica for treatment. He was sent to Canada for brain surgery and tragically died there. His body was sent to Jamaica for burial.
Radio Cayman's historical facts vignettes are proudly brought to you by Cayman National, with branches on all 3 Cayman Islands. Visit Cayman National Bank today for all of your financial needs.
Circle of Love Women's Ministry and DCFS would like to thank our gold sponsors for their support of the annual Child Month Breakfast on May 11, 2019. Cayman National Bank, Persona Events, Wendy's, Book Nook, Marriott Beach Resort, Atlantic Kids, Foster's Food Fair, and Cayman Islands Monetary Authority. Thank you, gold sponsors, for empowering, impacting, and encouraging the future of the Cayman Islands. For more information on the Child Month Breakfast or to be a sponsor, contact Shanda Hunter at 922-3229.
They say cleaning your house never killed anyone, but why take chances? Spend your time doing what you love and leave the rest to Roper's Janitorial. Complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential with 24-hour emergency service. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511. Email janitorial@ropers.ky. Take back your life and get the job done right the first time. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511.
My dad is the best. He was always there to protect me and guide me to be a better person. He helped shape me into the woman that I am today. But I was never prepared for the day that I had to protect and take care of him. It was terrifying and a total role reversal. But I will always be there for him like he was for me. When it comes to his medical care, I go where he always did, West Bay Pharmacy.
We know the difficulty of caring for elder family members. At West Bay Pharmacy, we can help assist you with caring for your loved ones by providing quality medicine and some of the most efficient home healthcare items possible. We provide precise calculations with your prescriptions to ensure your medical safety. West Bay Pharmacy, taking care of your health.
Why my wife always asking if I'm in a rush when she's the one always making us late?
Might as well say, yeah, I'm in a rush and go buy the new Toyota Rush you've been talking about. Cause they on sale this month. Dial teacher.
The super special spring SUV sale at Vamped Motors. Save up to $4,400 with SUVs starting at only $23,500, like the 7-seater Toyota Rush. Save money, get cash back, or use the discount to upgrade features on the SUV of your choice, including the Toyota RAV4, the Fortuner, the Rush, or the Ford EcoSport. It's our super special spring SUV sale. Only at Vamped Motors, Walkers Road.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments. Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, seaboard.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA's Mr. Christopher Saunders and Mr. Alba Suku. Before I turn the mic back over to them, just want to mention the fact that there's been some social media reports as well as in the Jamaica Gleaner about the health condition of former Prime Minister of Jamaica, Mr. Edward Siaga. And there's an update in the Gleaner. It's update: Siaga stable and is receiving excellent care, says wife. And I'm going to read very quickly. Carla Siaga, the wife of former Prime Minister Edward Siaga, says her ailing husband is stable and is receiving excellent medical care. The former Prime Minister, who had been seeking medical care for the past few weeks, has been admitted to a Miami hospital. She's quoted as saying he's receiving excellent medical care and is sustained too by the love of his family and friends. Mr. Siaga, 88, is battling 2 chronic illnesses and complications associated with them. We continue to pray for him and support him in his present stable environment, Mrs. Siaga said. She also said the former Prime Minister is scheduled to receive further treatment at the Miami hospital and express thanks to people who have been offering love, prayers, and support. Mr. Siaga is Jamaica's 5th Prime Minister and the country's longest-serving member of Parliament. He was Prime Minister from 1980 to 1989 and is currently Chancellor of the University of Technology, Jamaica, where he was reappointed to a 3-year term with effect from November 7th, 2017, and he turns 89 on the 28th of this month. He turns 89. So we here in the Cayman Islands also want to wish for him all the best and a speedy recovery as well. Yeah, man.
Well, OC, I didn't get my chance to say good morning yet, but I didn't want to miss the opportunity to wish my father actually a happy belated birthday. His birthday was earlier this week.
Okay, great.
So I'm not going to give away his age. But,
Daniel was the 7th. Oh, Daniel was the 7th.
So happy belated birthday to my father. At his age now, he doesn't go out and party as much as a younger one. But I know that he enjoyed his day. So
yeah,
just wanted to say that to him.
And if I can very quickly say also, I remember reading back in those old Trade Winds newspaper when he first visited the Cayman Islands. He came here with his other Caymanian students from was it Michael?
Michael
Teachers College. Teachers College. One of the there's an article in the Trade Winds newspaper indicating when he first visited here in the summer.
Mm-hmm. Well, growing up, I had a lot of pressure on me because when my father came here, when he was at Michael, he was captain of the football and cricket team.
Okay.
Came here as an athlete, right? A teacher, but he played for Bayreuth for many years and so on. He was always active in football and cricket. With Mr. Saunders' father too.
Yep.
I didn't really catch the football and the cricket bug, but I was more into, I did martial arts for a while, quite a while, number of years. Did that up until I was in my late teens, and then almost to black belt. I got to brown, and then decided I was going to do other things that didn't involve sports. So, I always regretted not really being that active, especially cricket, because I love cricket. But we do have that background, that history from him, because he was an extraordinary cricketer, and I remember going and watching him at the Oval on Sundays, and it was amazing to watch your father and how he performed, and how the other guys, even MLA David White and his brother, all of them learned from him. And
Brothers
those
was
guys,
one of their big brothers would have been, I think back then was even good enough to have even played for Western. I was trying to remember his name the other day.
Probably think about Roderick.
One of them was really good. One of the white boys.
One of the white brothers.
It was really, really, but.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, they were all good athletes, and by right, I think did a lot for the community in terms of developing sports, and especially cricket and football. So, but back to politics.
Yes.
I do agree with what Mrs. Saunders was saying at the lead-in, because one of the things that I've realized in my short time in politics is that, and Mr. Arden McLean reminded me of this the other day. Well, he gave me a suggestion when I was debating, and I was a little bit self-critical. And he said that he remembers Linford Pearson telling him, don't ever be self-critical, because there are not people out there criticizing you. Which is good advice.
Add one more to it, right?
No, add to it. But that is also, I think, a weakness in the system, because many politicians become entrenched in that mindset that I can't be self-critical, and I can't admit a mistake and look back at fixing it, because then, I will be saying that what I did or what I was part of was a failure. And people might lose confidence in me. So politicians get stuck in that rut of keep trying to push forward their agenda and their ideas, rather than reviewing and saying, well, maybe we made a misstep here. Let's change course and make a correction. I'm seeing some of that now when you hear the announcement on the crime statistics. Now, not saying that things haven't improved. I am wholeheartedly supporting the community policing initiative. I've seen it working, but we make these announcements really quickly that crime is down and it's paying off.
Boxing gym won't get built.
But yeah, then we don't acknowledge other failures. But I still don't think that the crime problem is under control. But we're quick as politicians to put that announcement out there to give people that assurance. Yeah, we did something there. Meanwhile, I'm getting reports to me directly instead of 911 at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
That there's someone outside my house. What should I do? My response is call 911, but people are not reporting crimes. So, of course, that will affect the statistics. You have to look at all that and not be so willing to make a headline before you've acknowledged and made certain that the problem has been fixed. And I think that's where a lot of politicians fall down, because they fail to be self-critical. I'm looking again at the labor law. We have evolved. Our labor industry has evolved. This country has evolved over years and years, but we haven't evolved that law. It is critically needed now. A majority of the complaints that I get that are labor-related could have been addressed in a new labor law, a revamped one, a modernized labor law. But we got to the precipice of passing that, and then it was pulled back. And I have no idea why. Because at the time I was supporting Minister, this is during the last administration, Minister Rivers. I was strongly supporting her bringing forward a new labor relations bill. And but then, unfortunately, I left the government around about the time that was supposed to come forward, and we never heard anything of it again.
Roy Button had a very strong bill too, and I think it was actually passed, but it was never implemented.
Yes. Okay, we reached that point. Time check for 8 o'clock news. Folks, please stay tuned. When we return, the conversation with MLA Mr. Christopher Saunders and Mr. Alvis Suku will continue.
Thank you, Mr. Connor. And studio time now by Price Right is 7:59.
Price Right is Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore, making your dollar go further with huge savings and no membership fees. Get more of the things you use every day at the right price. But it's not just grocery and health and beauty. Price Right has a full range of products from office to automotive, patio furnishings to kitchen appliances, and even electronics. And since warehouse prices mean savings for you, everything is priced right at Price Right, Grand Cayman's warehouse shopping superstore.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
Your community. News and information. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
With your latest news, I'm Karsley Fuller. 2 people are arrested in Safe Haven after a police chase. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service tells Radio Cayman just before 1 p.m. on Thursday, a 29-year-old man and a 29-year-old woman, both from Boddentown, were arrested after officers tried to stop them as they were driving in West Bay. The officers followed the car until it came to a stop in Safe Haven, where the pair jumped out and took off on foot. Officers searched the area. Both suspects were arrested. The man was picked up on suspicion of dangerous driving and was also wanted by police for several other offenses, including wounding with intent. The woman was arrested on suspicion of being an accessory after the fact and having the intent to impede his apprehension. Both are currently behind bars. And real estate agents, brokers, and dealers in precious metals and stones are part of 2 workshops being organized by the Department of Commerce and Investment. Details from CIGTV's Donna Bush.
The goal of the workshops is to assist participants with government's mandatory registration process. Minister for Commerce and Investment, the Honourable Joseph Hughes, spoke at the workshops.
We have implemented rules and regulations to deal with this, and there is a registration process for all DNFBPs or non-financial aspects of the report to register by the 29th of this month, which is only 20 days away. So we're here today with the workshop to encourage persons to register, to assist persons if they have any questions or in the actual registration, but to also assist persons in setting up their own regimes within their businesses so that they're not taken advantage of or become unintentionally a part of terrorism financing or money laundering.
And the Anti-Money Laundering Regulations 2018 revision, which were amended in March of 2018, requires them to register as part of Cayman's compliance regime in line with global standards that are addressed or assessed by the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force. Now, workshop participants learned the key issues and challenges for agents and dealers, as outlined in the mutual evaluation report of Cayman's regime for anti-money laundering, countering the financing of terrorism and proliferation financing, the sector's risk assessment, as well as how to set up their compliance regime, as mentioned by the minister.
Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, who will take us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
BBC News with Eileen McHugh. Trade talks between the United States and China are expected to resume today in Washington, hours after the US more than doubled tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese goods. The Commerce Ministry in Beijing said it would take countermeasures. China has reacted angrily to a decision by the United States to ban one of its mobile telephone companies from operating in America. Washington said China Mobile, which is owned by the Chinese government, could threaten national security. China said it was a pretext to suppress one of its businesses. The UN says almost 900 children have been released by a pro-government militia which is fighting Boko Haram rebels in northern Nigeria. UNICEF said the move fulfilled a commitment signed in 2017 to end the recruitment and use of children. French forces have rescued foreign hostages in Burkina Faso in an operation that cost the lives of 2 French soldiers. 4 people were released, 2 of them from France. The other 2 were said to be an American and a South Korean. A new report says 28 million people have fled their homes last year because of disaster, violence and conflict. More than 41 million people have been displaced in their own countries. The United Nations says grain silos that are crucial to its plans to feed millions of people in Yemen have been hit by gunfire. It's assessing the damage. 4 American B-52 bombers are reported to have arrived at a US airbase in Qatar amid growing tension between Washington and Tehran. Washington's claims that Iran may be preparing to attack its forces in the Middle East, an allegation dismissed by Iran. And a UN tribunal is considering Ukraine's bid to force Russia to release 3 Ukrainian Navy ships and 24 crew members seized last November. Russia says its Navy was covered by an exemption for military activity. That's the latest. BBC News.
Access. Information. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
A good night's sleep makes all the difference the next day, like more energy and an alert mind. Get the sleep your body needs with a comfortable, supportive mattress from the Mattress Gallery at Tomlinson Furniture. Choose from all major brands such as Serta, Simmons, Beautyrest, Tempur, Sealy. Visit our testing center today and have it home tonight, as we have the largest selection of mattresses in stock. We are ready to help you sleep better for less at the Mattress Gallery at Tomlinson Furniture. Call 949-5383 for more info.
Now until supplies last, clearance on select Beautyrest mattresses at the Mattress Gallery by Tomlinson Furniture.
Are you seeking information on the proper process to start constructing your home or development? Do you know how to apply for a building permit and inspection? Are you up to date with current building codes? May is Building Safety Month, and the Department of Planning has a number of events to help you stay up to date with the building and planning process. To learn more about Building Safety Month and the training, information sessions, and demos offered for free to the public, visit planning.ky.
At Kirk's Home Center, we can make your life much better. We got it all together. We got a great deal in store for you.
This week at Kirk Home Center, get your green thumb going with 8-inch square planter pots starting at $9.49. And keep plants blooming with a half-gallon watering can for $4.69. And grass growing with an 8-pattern sprinkler for $9.99. Cook rice perfect every time with a 16-cup rice cooker from Black & Decker for $34.99. And save on 12-volt cordless drills from Bosch for $259.99.
Kirk's Home Center, we got a great deal in store for you.
Pleasant good morning. Time now for the latest weather report. Current temperature is 84 degrees. Relative humidity is 82%. Barometric pressure is 29.91 inches and rising. The wind is east at 6 knots. Overnight low temperature was 77 degrees. Synopsis indicate light easterly winds and slight seas will continue across the Cayman area for the next 24 hours due to a weak pressure gradient over the northwest Caribbean. Radar images show isolated showers in and around the Cayman area moving towards the northwest. Now, the forecast for the Cayman Islands for today and tonight, calling for partly cloudy skies with a 30% chance of showers. Temperatures will be in the upper 80s today and fall to the mid to upper 70s tonight. Your winds will be east to southeast at 5 knots or less for tonight and 5 to 10 knots for today. Seas will be slight with wave heights of 1 to 3 feet. Low tide will occur this morning at 9:01. High tide this afternoon at 1:54, and a low tide again tonight at 8:27. The sun will set this evening at 6:50 and will rise tomorrow morning at 5:53. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Sunday morning. Busy traffic coming from the east on Shamrock Road and the Linford Pearson Highway. Steady but flowing traffic coming off of Bobby Thompson Way. Traffic moving light to moderate from the West Bay four-way stop. And on the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is moderate in both directions. On Edward Street and on Shedden Road, things are looking moderately, as well as on Eastern Avenue. No issues on Godfrey Nixon Way. Traffic flowing moderately on North Sound Road coming from the Butterfield roundabout, heading towards the Industrial Park area. Little steady traffic on Crew Road, some sections busy. And on Owen Roberts Drive, traffic flowing pretty good. That's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes after 12. We'll update you traffic-wise. Have a good morning. Buckle up.
Hi,
I'm Dawn McLean Brady, President of the Cayman Islands Small Business Association, better known as CISPA. Small businesses drive Cayman's economy. As small business owners, we depend on government to create an environment where we, as entrepreneurs, can do what we do best, and that's to provide products and services that are valuable to our customers and, in turn, employ others. The cruise piers and cargo ports provide these opportunities. Encourage our government to build a port and let the Caymanian entrepreneurial spirit shine. Support the port, support our tourism.
From happy beginnings to happy ever after,
Brit K protects your lifestyle with the best insurance cover at the best possible price.
Health insurance with far-reaching benefits.
95% of claims settled in 5 days.
Low-cost life insurance.
And investments.
Security in retirement.
With a custodian pension plan.
For happy beginnings and a happy ever after,
visit BritK.ky or call 949-8699.
Brit K, where people come first.
It's a big Mother's Day sale at International Lighting and Design. Thursday, May 9th through Saturday, May 11th. Moms never seem to have enough linen and household items. So head over to International Lighting and shop till you drop. Take 20 to 50% off select items. Shop for area rugs. Pick up those hard-to-find California king-size sheets and comforter sets. Check out those 8-piece comforter sets starting at $45. Too many items to mention and all at unbelievable prices. Spend $10 or more and get a surprise gift while supplies last. Head upstairs to the Bathroom Palace and take 20% off selected items. International Lighting and Design, upstairs and downstairs, Ed Plaza, North Songway. Open 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Call 949-5141. And for outdoor shopping under the big tree, stop by the entrance of the Buddentown Church of God Chapel Saturday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m. and enjoy lots of Mother's Day savings. Happy Mother's Day from the management and staff of International Lighting and Design and the Bathroom Palace.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record in the studio. It's my pleasure to have MLA's Mr. Christopher Saunders and Mr. Alva Suku. We have a caller online. Before we go to the call, I just want to give our listeners and viewers a preview of some of the things that we will discuss. I will be seeking their opinion on a decision taken by the Premier of the British Virgin Islands to invite the Decolonization Committee or members of the UN Decolonization Committee to observe the constitutional discussions that are due to take place soon, and also to invite them to help to explain to the people of the BVI the whole concept of self-determination. We will be talking about the opposition's response to the Premier's statement as it relates to the resignation of the leader of the opposition, Honourable D. Ezard Miller, and several other things we will be talking about again also. But let's go to the phone lines. First caller. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Mr. O.C., and good morning to Mr. Suku and Mr. Oh, I forgot his name.
Saunders, Chris Saunders.
Chris Saunders, yeah.
Yep.
I was thinking that's what happened. Anyway, what I'm going to just go over quickly. I don't want to take too much time. But over the years, I have been watching things that are happening in this island. These are things that I think you guys should try to change or correct or whatever. But over the years, there have been things in the paper, and I've read, and I've watched, and I listened. And I'll just give you a list of, I've got 11 items here, but I can just go briefly over them. There was a case at a bank called Dunley National Bank. They came down here. There was a woman, she's well known, or should be well known. Her name is Sharon Lexter Lamb. She was in charge. They had a $450 million fiasco where people were investing in this so-called investment bank. $450 million, nobody has accounted for it. And yet, these people, this woman, I understand, she built a house in Cayman, she's back here. I don't want to get into it. Next one, revitalization, okay? Mm-hmm. When we started back in 1988, when Clifford Pearson was in office, they came to us, and several architects were involved in this thing. And we talked about doing things, and I suggested that maybe Georgetown is so small, we don't need all the traffic and all that. And I told them that it would be good to pedestrianize Georgetown, leave some trees, and they plant some trees and get it nice, sidewalk cafes and all that. I'm not going to get into detail. But it was accepted at that time that things like that would be done. They're still working at it. Cleaning the closed circuit cameras. Remember about 4 years ago, well, it was more than that. I think it was 2012, they came up with this thing. They had all these cameras. There would be 300-something cameras they had on the streets. I'd made it a point to go around and count all I could. I came up with 200-something, maybe there's another 100 someplace. But they had this $300,000 that was given to them to clean the cameras. I never heard no more about it. Right after that, the police station got robbed with the bicycles, with the motorcycle and stuff like that. Nobody knows where it went. I'm just pointing these things out there. We got this thing called off-reg that's supposed to regulate the utilities and stuff like that. They hired a guy from Jamaica, I think it was Jamaica, J. Paul Morgan, came here, had an 18-month contract. He spent $400,000, I think it was, if my memory serves me correctly. Travel expenses, I don't know where he went, what he did with it, but nothing was done about the price of gasoline. We got a new thing now with the new license plates. Remember that? Mm-hmm. What happened? Nobody knows. It's still not finished. Nobody knows what's happening. And we got more license plates than any place in the world. Nothing seems to be done. We got the Ironwood project and the Beach Bay project. Remember the big to-do about that? There was going to be hotels, there was going to be this and golf course and all that. Mm-hmm. You have anything done with it? Nothing. This was a scheme to get the property evaluated to tourism so that the people who bought the land could make money off it down the road.
And remember, attached to that was the east-west arterial road that was supposed to be part of that development.
Part of it. We had the iguana. We have recently got the iguana culling. They say they have 600,000 iguanas that have been covered. 500 something, 90 something thousand. I think I call it $600,000. Mm-hmm. I mean 600,000 iguanas. Now in 1 week, the last week before this thing came out in the paper about a week ago, they said that it was 24,930 iguanas were killed that week. That averages to be 3,500 a day. I don't believe it for a minute. And the question I have with this iguana thing, it's going to be just like it's going on, I believe, just like the Turtle Farm did, when they had all these people that were claiming they were working for contractors and stuff like that. They were signing vouchers that they were being paid. And I understand that the guy who's handling this iguana thing is a Canadian or a foreign national.
Macaulay, don't you believe that the iguana culling has been effective?
Yeah. I think they killed some iguanas. I'm not disputing that.
Yeah, you ask the iguanas, they'll tell you that too. Those.
A lot of them. They killed a lot of them. But what bothers me is how are they being paid? Are they being paid in cash? Because if it's being paid in cash.
Caller, I think that has all already been laid out there, the procedures, and even the colours out there know what the procedure is. I did hear of a rumor that there was one or two employees, and someone said that they found it a little disturbing that they were being directed to place the smaller iguanas that were culled into a different bag or plastic bags that they had, only for someone to discover later, and this has not come out publicly, I don't recall it coming out publicly, but the person that I spoke to knew about the situation, and an employee there was simply separating those smaller iguanas. given them to an accomplice, and they were returning them the next day to be counted and to be paid for again. And the reason that they were doing with the smaller ones was because they were less bulky and much more difficult to detect. I understood that was discovered. The employee was terminated. I don't know if any criminal proceedings were brought against them, but that is one situation that I heard of. But caller, I'm going to ask you to leave us there because we do have another caller on hold. But please feel free to call back if you still want to pursue other issues. Next caller. Good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. Yeah, the table Rambo. I have a brief this morning. Listen, on the front line, right, in National Court, right, it don't look good. In the midterm, and I like dysfunction. I'm going to synchronize myself, organize myself differently. Because everybody have their own voters, specification. It's not complicated. I read yourself, but believe me, it look good. Right? Don't feel offended. Right?
Mm-hmm.
I read yourself, no opposition. Being serious. Have a good weekend.
Thank you very much, caller. You got what do you say there? He's talking about the fracture in the opposition, and it doesn't look good, and that everybody has their own voters in terms of those, their supporters and stuff.
Well,
I can't. Sorry. Go ahead.
That is part of the. I think the maturity of people need to understand in our politics is that we have been so accustomed to having weak-minded people that are easily led, yes persons being elected, that when people finally start standing up now and questioning what's going on, then it becomes a problem. And I'm going to tell you right now, I can't speak for my other colleagues in the opposition or on the government side.
Mm-hmm.
But what I can tell you is that Section 44.3 of the Constitution is clear. The Cabinet reports to the legislature, and it is our job as legislators also to keep the Cabinet and every leader and also each other in check. And if they believe that anyone is going to sit back and just allow because there are differences or disagreements or whatever, and they're not going to be dealt with, it's not going to happen. And it is that mindset of not wanting to challenge people. I mean, it's ironic. We were on a conference call the other day with Mr. McLean, Alvin, and myself, and we were talking about the schools project. When we were looking at the press release, and even I myself had to admit, say, guys, I was in cabinet when that was done, and I'll have to take my own, accept my own responsibility for being part of the government that went with those massive school projects. And he says, and I will defend my position, but I have since gone out, seek atonement, seek salvation, and dip in the River Jordan or whatever. But at the end of the day, one of the things as human nature is that we don't like confrontation. We don't like to, the old kind of be in your face kind of situation. And if people at this level, at our level, can't look at somebody, and this is what I was saying last week, it takes a lot to be in a room with a lot of people where everybody's saying one thing, and then you're going to be the little out one that says, guys, I don't want to be the flying ointment, but I disagree with all of you. It takes a lot to do that, and this is part of the maturity. And why this is necessary and why this kind of personality is necessary in this business is that when political people sit in front of members of the business community, and these people who come in, as the previous caller talked about, these Ironwood projects and listing all of these wonderful stuff that they're going to do this and they're going to do that, you need people with a kind of certain amount of tenacity to look at a person and say, listen, this is BS what you're talking to us. You know what I mean? And as Alva said, you come, you get this, you get that. There's all of this fanfare, and then no follow through.
Mm-hmm.
And you need people the kind of personality to say, guys, we have seen enough of your kind come around here right now. We have seen enough of you. We know what this is going to look like. And the government ends up now in a situation making this grand project announcement, and years later, still nothing. And people out there getting excited, the government doing this, the government is doing that. Just one grandstanding and no follow through. And this is what we need to stop. But until you have people who are willing to sit down and say to the people in the insurance industry, you're making too much money off our people. What are you doing about that? I'm shocked, OC, and I can tell you this much. Going through the when in PSC, when we got a SEMA report 1 year, and we were looking at the profit of just what companies are making on health insurance, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Just the health insurance industry in Cayman, you know what I mean? 2011, 4 million profit. 2012, 10.8 million profit. 2013, 14.3 million profit. 2014, 14 million profit. 2015, 51.5 million in profit. And we sit back now, we're like, guys, back up. Because I got the report and I'm like, okay, they're tabling it. What are we going to do now? I like to read. And I can say, okay, I'm looking at 2015. I'm like, what does this mean to me? Let me go back and look at 2014. And I'm like, wait a minute. 2014 was 14 million. Then you jump up to 51.5 million in profit. I'm like, hold on there. Let me go back and look at 2013.
Yes.
2013 was 14.3 million profit. I'm like, wait a minute. So in 2011, you went from 4 million to 51.5 million, and nobody sat down and stopped and questioned that. Now they come back and tell me, oh, Chris, your numbers are wrong. It's like, if my numbers are wrong, fine. Give me the right numbers. But the point is, we pay people good money to look at these things to protect people. And the fact, either the number was wrong, what I was more concerned about was the fact that the number was reported and not one single person picked it up to say, wait a minute, this is too much money being made on, and this is private sector insurance we're talking about, you know. You understand me? And when you look at the fact that the private sector only had 35,000 people employed at that time, I mean, going through the different things, and you making that much profit on that much, that little amount of people, it is madness. It is complete madness. But again, where are the watchdogs? Where are the people? Where are the people who look at people and say, guys, do your job. Do your job. But no, everybody wants this Uncle Dora type relationship. And you know who suffers for it?
The people.
The people.
Yes.
You understand me? This is a business. Democracy is built on divisions. It's built on disagreements. It is built on people having other issues. But it says we have debate, we have discussion, we find consensus.
Okay.
This is what it's built on.
Yep. Let's see if we can grab one more call before we go to our break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Good morning, Ocean, to your panel.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Morning.
Good. Talking insurance, I have always said that there's two licensed cartels in this island, and they're licensed by the government, who pays absolutely no mind to them after they license them. That is insurance and the banks.
Don't leave out fuel too. Don't leave out fuel.
Yeah. I you know, it is very. I have a what I consider to be a very good insurance, and I went to a dental clinic on the West Bay Road some time ago, and one visit, I had a filling done, and about 3 or 4 months after that, I went back to another dental clinic because the appointment was not readily available at that one. And I was told that all of my benefits for dental was used up. One filling, right, used up, right? These people is allowed to do what they want to do. There's no one out there regulating them. There's no one out there being watched down with them. And don't ask about the banks. Oh, they top it all. I mean, you know, they have no instituted taxes in Cayman, direct taxation in Cayman. Something that the government is not doing. You know, I mean, the government is not putting a tax on anything, but they have no instituted tax. Where if you're going to change one of their checks in their bank, they're charging you $10 to change that check. So I'm sorry, but if the little gardener goes in there with that $12 check, he leave him a 10.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yes.
I mean, and we've been crying out there in the wilderness, and no one is listening, no one is hearing it, right? But yet, every 4 years, we got politicians that go around asking us to vote. Now, I'm not saying that Chris and I can do anything about it directly. Yes, you all can go to the government, but that's all you all can do. It is the government of the day to take these matters up and run with them, right? And to know how things are in Cayman. Yes, the economy seems to be moving good, but people have been lacking behind for a long time, and not everybody is as financially stable as they should be, and yet we don't have nobody paying attention to these matters. You know, it is really, really craziness. Really crazy.
Well, I'll add to what he's saying.
I wonder
if you look at the standard health insurance plan that most companies have to offer, you actually pay more in premiums for the year than you actually get out of it in benefits. So that is a guaranteed profit for the insurance company right there. There's some areas where you can exceed what you pay in terms of emergency visits if you got to go in the ambulance and so on. But for standard, general health care, you actually put in more in premiums than you are entitled to in benefits.
Actually, I just want to clarify one thing, because we did deal with some of these issues that the caller and the previous caller spoke about. Just in the last sitting in the LA alone, when the issue came up about the checks and the World Bank issue, one of the things we suggested to the government was simply this, and this is how it came up on the radar, just to kind of put things in context. There are people who every week get the child allowance checks, the support checks for their children. When they go to cash those checks, they're taking $10 out of those checks. And if you're getting those checks weekly, and you're cashing 52 of them a year, that is literally over $500 a year you're spending in bank fees. And some of those checks are really a small amount of money. And when you think of what $500 could have done for that child per year, and again, now going back to the same issue of, that may be something that may go as long as even 16 years. It depends on whenever it is. You're talking about $8,000 alone just in check cashing fees over the life of a child. You know what I mean? And we said to the government that, listen, with the buying power that you have, with the bank balances you have, you can say to the bank that you do business with, listen, when people come to cash my checks, you cannot take any, you can't charge them anything for it. The government can do that. This is simply a phone call. This is simply an email to the banks. When cashing my checks, when cashing the check of the government of the Cayman Islands, you can't take a cent out of it from anybody. And if the government can do that with their buying power, but the bottom line is they have refused to. This is not difficult. This is not science. This is a customer saying to another bank, you can't do that. I can tell you, for companies I've been involved with, for the balances that they have, when their employees and some of them go inside there to cash checks, the banks don't take 1 cent out of it. You know why? They're worried about losing the bigger customer relationship. You have that power. But again, this is what it comes back to. If everyone is trying to be nice to everybody, then the people ultimately are going to get suffer. This is not a business of nice. You know what I mean? What they're trying to do now is take MLAs and turn them into community workers. And listen, there is a place for community workers, and I can tell you I enjoy doing my work in the community. But at the end of the day, I do that because I enjoy doing it. Ultimately, I'm paid as a legislator to bring policies, to bring legislation. That's what we want to do. You know what I mean? And as long as we keep taking the job and turn it down to community work, you might as well go give them a job working in that department that does it. But for what we're getting paid, now we need to step up to the plate.
Okay. We have to take a commercial break, folks. Please stay tuned. The conversation with MLAs, Mr. Christopher Saunders and Mr. Alva Suku, will continue after this short commercial break.
Rotaract Blue, in support of the Cayman Special Needs Community, present the 11th Annual Open Arms Gala, The Great Gatsby. Saturday, May 25th at Ristorante Papagayo. Cocktails begin at 6 p.m. 3-course dinner, award ceremony, silent auction at 7 p.m. Attire is Gatsby chic. Your ticket is only $100 per person. Your table only $1,500. Tickets available online at eventpro.ky or email president.rotaractblue@gmail.com. The Open Arms Program promotes care, understanding, and non-discrimination for disabled persons. The Great Gatsby by Rotaract Blue. Inspiration to the next generation.
The Cayman Pharmacy Group would like to thank the Cayman communities for their continuous support for over the past decade. CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy opened its doors in March 2000. West Bay Pharmacy first opened their doors in March 2004. The Cayman Pharmacy Group was established in July 2007. Throughout the years, our CPG family has provided more than just pharmaceuticals to our loyal friends and customers. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has protected the lives of our medical community by securing the best healthcare advice and pharmaceutical services. To us at CPG, you are more than just a number. So, we are taking the time to say thank you for choosing CPG, the Cayman Pharmacy Group, taking care of your health.
Why my wife always asking if I'm in a rush when she's the one always making us late?
Might as well say, yeah, I'm in a rush and go buy the new Toyota Rush you've been talking about. Because they on sale this month. Doll teacher.
The super special spring SUV sale at Vant Motors. Save up to $4,400 with SUVs starting at only $23,500 like the 7-seater Toyota Rush. Save money, get cash back, or use the discount to upgrade features on the SUV of your choice, including the Toyota RAV4, the Fortuner, the Rush, or the Ford EcoSport. It's our super special spring SUV sale. Only at Vant Motors, Walkers Road.
While the primary source of alcohol for underage drinkers is people they know, research shows that 7 to 9% of those who report alcohol use in the Cayman Islands purchase alcohol directly from retailers. Tips Off-Premise helps retailers focus on verifying the legal drinking age when selling alcohol. Since the program was introduced here in the Cayman Islands back in 2005, we have trained over 400 persons and partnered with over 10 retailers. Contact us on 949-9000 to have your staff trained today. This message is brought to you by Radio Cayman and the National Drug Council.
System 1 loaded.
1-800-534-8255. What is on your mind when it comes to the government, independence, and the opposition? Issues that matter to you. 1-800-534-8255. Waiting to hear from you. For the Record.
This is For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA's Mr. Christopher Saunders and Mr. Albert Suku. I'm going to throw the mic back to Mr. Suku now.
No, actually, no, I just want to finish up one thing. No,
sorry.
One of the things that I just wanted to finish up on, and like I said, this is what we're talking about, the evolution of Cayman politics. We've become addicted to nice. And this is one of the reasons why I am very careful about the lunch invitations I accept, the cocktail parties I accept. Because if it's an industry where I know they have their hands in the pockets of hardworking people, and I know the war is coming, I'm not going to come and smile up with you or that kind of stuff there when I know what it is you're trying to do. Just as though I am out there trying to, my job is to make people's lives better. Their job is to make their shareholders richer. Mm-hmm. I accept that. I'm not going to criticize them. I'm not going to think anything bad of them. That's their job. As long as they recognize that this is my job, for you to say to you, take your hands out of people's pocket. So I'm not going to sit there and laugh at you and smile at you, because when the time comes for me to deal with you, I'm going to deal with you. And then they're going to say, but why could you, hypocrite, you come, you smile at me, you drink with drink, you eat with food, and this is what you're thinking all this time? Yeah, that's my job. But not many people have that maturity. So that's the reason, because they take so many things personal, I just avoid them altogether. And we do what we have to do on the PSC, we do what we have to do on the legislation that we propose to deal with it. But the days of niceness is over. People are struggling, people are suffering in this country, unnecessarily too.
Mm-hmm. I think, you wanted to respond to Rambo?
Well, not directly respond to him, but and with all respect, Jew, I understand his concern. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It may not look good, but, OCB didn't get into politics to make friends.
Oh, look good.
We came in here to do a job. Mm-hmm. And maybe it's my management background, maybe it's the education that I've gone through, but I've realized that in this business, it's a business. This isn't friend thing. So if I see that we're going down a certain road, and I see that the opposition ultimately is not going to accomplish the objective, then we have to make changes. Mm-hmm. And sometimes those changes come with some hurt. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But you have to be big enough and strong enough to stand up and say, we need to change this. If you don't do that, we're going to get the same old. We're going to get the nice guy mentality where, don't do this because you might hurt this one feelings or that one. We didn't come here to make friends. Some of us were friends before we came here. But we came here to do a job, and you have to find the best way to move forward and get that job done. Mm-hmm. I'll speak to my experience with the opposition. Mr. Miller says that he tried everything he could try. He did all he could do. Well, so did I. But at the end of the day, I could see it wasn't working. And I could see where we were not going to deliver those promises we made to all those constituents. So I made a conscious decision that, look, we have to make a change. And that's why he and I had our conversation. Now, the fallout from that doesn't look good, I agree. Mm-hmm. But you got to make the decision, and you got to stick with it, and you move forward. There's no no future in crying about what happened in the past. We need to fix going forward now. Put ourselves in the best position to deliver to those people that put us in these jobs. And that's what I am dedicated to doing. So, and I hear Mr. Miller saying that he's going to focus on his constituents and do what he can and continue. Well, so am I. So am I. There's no difference between us in that. We may have different ways of doing that, different ideologies, but both of us will move forward and serve the people that put us here the best we can. And I wish him well. I hope that he wishes me well. And, no hard feelings.
But now, any impact on the personal friendship part of things, the individual
I
bonds
can tell
that people have?
I can tell you, for me, it's really personal. I'm not going to sit back and tell you that on a personal level, it is not something that bothers me. Because at the end of the day, I'm still human. In the last election, I had a rule. You come into my area to campaign against me, I'm going to find somebody in your area and do exactly the same. And part of it was time management, because if I force you to defend your seat, it means you got less time to come and campaign against me. That's strategy. I campaigned against Alva because they were supporting someone against me. I went Eastern, I did the same thing. And I also even went in Savannah and do the same thing. The one area I never touched was North Side. And I've said it already publicly, and it's no secret. When I was misdiagnosed and sent home to die.
Yeah, I remember.
Ezra came and visited me at my house. It was a Monday. I'll never forget it. Went and checked my wife. She was working at the time. And said, "Pa, Chris Bags, I don't like you looking. I'm taking him to Cleveland Clinic." We flew up the same Monday evening to Cleveland Clinic. Tuesday morning, I went to the hospital. Ezra doing all the talking. And he's like, "My friend need to see a doctor." They say he can't see one till Thursday is the earliest appointment. He said, "No, he needs one today." Picks up his phone in Cleveland Clinic and dial 911. And basically report an emergency. The ambulance had to leave from one side of the hospital, come around to the other side. And I remember being in the parking lot, like, this is really weird. In the parking lot while they're doing certain things. And he's like, "I bet you see a doctor today." No. So I went through the emergency system. By Thursday, I had my first procedure. By Friday, I literally had surgery to save my life. I have a 12-inch scar on my back. And they had to crack my ribs to get into my lungs. And anytime my stress levels or anything go up, I still feel a slight puffiness of where it got cracked. I don't care what I'm doing. I don't care where I'm at. If I ever feel a puffiness, I get up and I walk away. I could be in the middle of work. I could be in a meeting. That's my sign to say, "Chris, it's time to go." This is a man that helped save my life. My wife still have her husband. My kids still have their father. And my mother still has her one son. And my sister still have their one brother. You know what I mean? And that is something I will always be forever grateful for. You know what I mean? And that is not going to change. No. My respect for Mr. Miller is marrow deep. You know what I mean? He has a very strong personality. And I can tell you, there is not a person out there who fights harder for Caymanians and mean Caymanians well. You know what I mean? I'm not going to tell anybody otherwise. And I still consider him my friend. No, I can't speak on this side, but that respect is not going to change. My gratitude and gratefulness will never change. And there's nothing he can do that will make me change that view. And that is the reason why I still have my respect for him. But at the end of the day also, as I said, we have a job to do. Now, this job has very strong personalities. And when you look at the opposition side, we have 6 members. And OC, I can tell you, you will not find 6 of the strongest personalities. But when you do see 6 people agree on something, it's going to get dealt with. And you saw it in the last previous with the legal practitioners bill, where the strong personalities of the opposition shut down the weaker personalities on the government bench, even though they had the numbers. You know, and when you look at that side, and like I said, you have a lot of people who just nod their heads. That's very little contribution. And I really do feel bad for their constituents because they don't think they're represented. But at the end of the day, guess what? That is for them and their constituent. Democracy requires that I respect the wishes of whatever the people is. So whatever I think of somebody is irrelevant. That's between them and their constituent. And the same respect I give to them, I expect them to give to me and to the people of Borden West who sent me. And that is why we demanded the Premier to apologize. You do not go back and re-litigate the choices of the people. Well, you see, you should have done. No, that's not your place. Our place as agents of democracy is to accept the results, whether we like them or not. You know, it's not for you to question, because the minute you start questioning the voters, the minute you start questioning your bosses, you're basically, I tell you what, tell somebody to go inside their workplace right now and start questioning their bosses and all the decisions that they make and see what happened to them. You can't do that. We work for the people. The people is our boss. The highest political office in this country is not premier. It is voter. And until other elected members recognize that, they will start thinking different. But you have people inside who believe that their names are on that chair. The chair I sit in doesn't belong to me. It belongs to the people of Boddington West. And if 2021 they said, you know, I want someone else to sit there, it's their chair. It's not mine. And that's the respect that needs to be given to the people. But typical, the minute someone in this country have a little education and think they know better than people, they start looking at people as being stupid. And that's the exact reason why every single time he has led the party, he has not been able to get a mandate because of that piss poor attitude. He needs to change, man.
Okay.
And
good.
You have
okay.
time?
Go ahead very quickly, and then we'll take a break.
You see, and this is what is wrong with politics, because you end up having these people who believe that, yes, the voters may have spoken, but I know better than them. And the premier has now demonstrated he thinks that way, that he would go out and ridicule the choices of the people in this country. I took this as a personal insult, and on behalf of my constituents, you know, they voted for an independent. If I chose not to go join the Cayman People Alliance or whatever it is, it's because the people in Newlands haven't told me that I have their permission to go and join anything. They have to tell me what to do. And until the people in Newlands tell me that they're okay with me joining any entity, I'm going to stay as an independent.
And how do you know that they're telling you? Would you go to them and ask them?
Believe me, you have no choice.
My choice, my decision has been to stay on the ground and close to my people.
Yes. So you know exactly how they feel. Yes,
I know how they feel. And that's why I have the confidence to make the statements I make, you know, because I know that I have the backing of the people in Newlands, majority of them that I've spoken to that say, we agree. We understand what you're doing.
Okay, we're going to take a commercial break, and we do have one caller and whole caller. Hang in there. As soon as we return from the commercial break, we will take your call.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
I have various items coming from different suppliers that I need to ship to Cayman. Do you offer consolidation?
Yes. Seaboard Marine offers consolidation for full and less than container loads. We can hold your packages at our Miami warehouse until everything arrives and ship it all in one go. And we have the best rates to Grand Cayman. Visit seaboardmarine.com for more information.
Shipping shore to shore,
They say cleaning your house never killed anyone, but why take chances? Spend your time doing what you love and leave the rest to Roper's Janitorial. Complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential with 24-hour emergency service. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511. Email janitorial@ropers.ky. Take back your life and get the job done right the first time. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511.
Healthcare Pharmacy cares about your health and your mom this Mother's Day with the largest collection of greeting cards, picture frames, photo albums, gift boxes, gift bags, and inspirational quotes from Hallmark and Shoebox. You'll find the perfect card and that perfect for mom gift, like perfume and bath sets at Healthcare Pharmacy in Governor Square and Grand Harbor. Healthcare Pharmacy in Grand Harbor will be open on Mother's Day from 10 to 6 for any last-minute shopping.
Rotaract Blue, in support of the Cayman Special Needs Community, present the 11th Annual Open Arms Gala, The Great Gatsby. Saturday, May 25th at Ristorante Papagayo. Cocktails begin at 6 p.m. 3-course dinner, award ceremony, silent auction at 7 p.m. Attire is Gatsby chic. Your ticket is only $100 per person. Your table only $1,500. Tickets available online at eventpro.ky or email president.rotaractblue@gmail.com. The Open Arms Program promotes care, understanding, and non-discrimination for disabled persons. The Great Gatsby by Rotaract Blue. Inspiration to the next generation.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning. Welcome back to For the Record. We're going straight to the phone lines. As promised, caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning, O.C. How are you?
I'm fine. Good morning, and yourself?
Not too bad. I have a question for you and your panel, Mr. Suku and Mr.
Saunders.
Yes, this concerning a banking institution.
Mm-hmm.
When a customer or a person go and ask for a loan to buy a property, and the bank tell them that they have to get a valuation. The person that is intended to buy the property says to them, I can get a valuator, and tells what that valuator cost is. And the bank says to the customer, we will get an evaluator to evaluate the property. And when the bill comes from the evaluator, is the customer responsible to pay for that the bank requested from that evaluator, or who's responsible to this?
Chris?
You? I guess it would be the up to the bank to decide who pays for it. If the bank is really aggressive in trying to get that loan, then they could offer to pay for it. Mm-hmm. However, I think standard practices is that the person applying for the loan would have to have a valuation for the property that they want to buy. I don't think there's any legal requirement for who has to pay it. It's a commercial decision that the bank would make.
Yeah, or you could seek to have it split to 50-50. The bank pay part and the potential purchaser pay half.
Mm-hmm. And there are variations too. If the loan is approved, maybe.
You said 50-50, you OC?
Yeah, I said you could probably try to see if that would work, if the bank would accept where you would pay 50% and the bank pay 50% of the cost of the valuation.
I think it's more of a negotiation that would have to take place.
Hold on, let me put it in context. Just try to put it in a broader language. If I am selling you a piece of property, you come in and say to me, Chris, how much you selling me this property for? I say, well, give me $400,000. No, I've already set my price.
Mm-hmm.
You go to the bank and you say you want a loan to buy the property. I want to borrow $400,000. The bank is going to say to you, why $400,000? How much is the property worth? What I think is worth $600,000, so I'm getting a good deal. Well, prove it to me, because at the end of the day, I'm going to take cash that's on deposit and I'm going to convert it, which is a liquid asset, and I'm going to convert it to something illiquid. And I need to make sure that what you tell me it's worth. Because if I lend you $400,000 for a piece of property, it only value $200,000, and it then you default, I've lost $200,000 of people's money.
Mm-hmm.
So ultimately, it is on you to prove that the value of the property that you're buying is worth what it is that you say it is. You know what I mean? I don't think that's the bank's place. No, there are other things I think the bank should do, but that's a different story. But for this example right here, if you're going to borrow money, because if you're coming to me to borrow money, and you say, I want to buy X, Y, Z. Like, people come to us sometimes and say, well, I want money for buying groceries. How much you want? $5.
But I think you missed the question, that I asked you.
Sorry, well, repeat the question. My apologies.
I said the bank said that they don't use the value that they have.
Well,
and they go find a value to value the property, and the bill come back almost twice or three times as much as what the value that I was using.
Well,
who's responsible to pay the bill?
Well, they technically, if you give them a valuation that is based on somebody that's certified and qualified to provide a valuation, and they don't want to accept it, then they should be the ones paying for that.
All right, then, good.
Thank you. Thank you very much, caller, for that. Let's go to the next caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
You can't expect him to be out of pocket twice.
Good morning, Mr. O.C.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning. Just fine, sir. Good morning to Emily, Mr. Saunders, and Mr. Alva Suku.
Morning, sir. How are you?
To hear them on the air. I guess I'm a little bit confused when we talk about independent candidates or independent representatives, because there has always been in Cayman's history of politics alliances, parties, but not officially declared parties by having it registered and so forth, as was Mr. Orman Panton and Mr. Warren Conley and Mr. Duke of Marin and them in 1952 election. And from 1959, Mr. Warren had a party that I believe was officially registered and had a constitution. But we'll see who would know more about that than I do, if I'm speaking the truth or not.
Okay.
But I do think it was party. And it was always alliances. I can tell anybody about Jim Borden. They always had a group together. And they always supported that group heavily. He'd come to West Bay and campaign. We know that. I can tell you all that. You all might be too young to remember it. I remember the 76 elections heavily, and people were very divided and throwing the mud at each other. It always will be. A little bit less possibly these days. But that's what it is, divisive. But that's the way politics is. And I don't know if you had planned to run as a group together for the next elections or what. You didn't say, but I don't know. So we're going to be all independent now, I guess, from now on, or is there a plan for you to all group together? I just wondered about that, but I have other things I'd like to say, because you can say that that's your decision for yourself. I'll say this openly, and I've said it before. We were of a mindset, both parties in 62 elections so far, back that of full internal self-government. That was the party's manifestos and all that. They weren't afraid to say it. And I can tell anyone, Mr. Jim Borden used to often campaign on this manifesto that he would like to take Cayman as far away from the United Kingdom as possible. I can tell you this. He wanted us to be a Commonwealth state of the United States and all that. That was one of his dreams. I don't care who wants to refute that. He often spoke to me about that. I remember very well. And but he got elected, and he said that. If anyone said something like that, now I doubt if they'd get 10 votes. Courage is one of the great qualities that's lacking. The insurance thing, the health insurance scheme, from the very beginning, I said it would not work. And I still say it to this day. The main reason why I say that is that word mandatory. When you turn over the costing and the deliverance of health care to the private sector, make it mandatory that people have to be under these terms with them, and they can set the goalposts, then you have more or less turned over to the private sector those controls mandatorily, which should be the government. Anything mandatory, I've said it and I'll continue to say it. The same applies to the private pension system, which is the majority of employees in Cayman. That it should be paid to the government as a tax, and you would not have the problem that you're having with the needs assessment and providing monies to people and so forth. But I remain stuck on that point. I'll never change my mind about that. But with the health insurance, it's a very serious problem. To me, it's much, much more important than trying to hold a referendum on a fear or opposing the government with anything that they come up with for sake of opposition, or as I see many things happening right now. But it is very important. There are people out there who require urgent care, urgent decisions to be made, and urgent funding from their insurance companies. And they're telling them maybe they're maxed out. Many people tell me this, but you're still paying that insurance premium. And quite right, as you said there, I think Mr. Saunders, we were saying that the premiums you're paying is still much more than what they deliver to you in a year. That's insurance. The gamble is there on their sides. The gamble. These people are now in a big quandary because they need the care. They'll have to go to the government and get the care, and then go to the government, of course. And they still have to pay their insurance premiums because it's mandatory.
Yep.
The Legislative Assembly made it a law, and only they can change that. All 19 of them getting together, and each one is responsible for this. Each person must own up to their responsibilities. I haven't heard anyone get up and say, let us end this now.
Caller, we have to go to 9 o'clock news. We've reached that point. Sorry to interrupt you. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
Satisfaction is guaranteed 24 hours a day, whether it's music or information.
From Grand Cayman to Cayman Brac to Little Cayman, we've got you covered.
You ever hear a thing like that?
Radio Cayman in the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
Just before 1 p.m. on Thursday, a 29-year-old man from Boddentown and a 29-year-old woman from Boddentown were picked up by police after a chase. The man was arrested on suspicion of dangerous driving. The woman was picked up on suspicion of being an accessory after the fact. 4 foreign hostages have been freed by French forces in the West African country of Burkina Faso. 2 of those released are French, while the other 2 are said to be an American woman and a South Korean woman. 2 French soldiers were killed during the rescue raid. According to the French president, the hostages had been kidnapped in neighboring Benin on May 1st. And the U.S. has more than doubled tariffs on $200 billion worth of Chinese products in a sharp escalation of the country's damaging trade war. Tariffs on effective Chinese goods have risen to 25% from 10%, and Beijing has vowed to retaliate. China says it, quote, deeply regrets the move and will have to take, quote, necessary countermeasures. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have a caller who's been holding for quite a while. Let's go straight to the phone lines. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Thanks for waiting.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Morning, Dr. Steve.
Morning.
Good morning. I'm Steve McFeel here. And good morning to you guests.
Morning, sir. How are you?
Firstly, I would just like to say, I would like to make a comment about the charging of the bank charging for cash their own checks. This happened in Jamaica last year sometime, I think it was, the year before. And Jamaican people decisively demonstrated to the members of parliament that they didn't want that to happen. And members of parliament did something about it, and the Bank of Jamaica quashed that immediately. But it's not going to get done by talking on the radio about it. It's not going to get done by wishing that it will happen. It takes action to do it. And the Jamaican people decisively made their MLAs know that they were unhappy about it and they were not going to pay it. And the Bank of Jamaica and the MLAs went demonstrated to the Bank of Jamaica, and the Bank of Jamaica quickly put an end to that charge. Unlike us who sit and talk for months and months and years and so forth. The other thing that I have an issue with, it's been now 10 years now since the Standard and Public Life Law was supposed to be in place under the Constitution, Section 119, and the District Council Law, Section 117, and District Law, Section 119. I have not heard one member of Parliament brought a motion to say to the government that you have to bring this in within so many days or demonstrate against it. Those are the two things that are the cornerstones of the democratic system that gives the people the right to hold members of parliament and boards and government companies accountable. And Section 119 gives the people in the districts the right to advise their people who they elected to do their business of how they want their business to be done. And those everything else you have institutions for the police, you have institutions for civil rights, you have all those things except the ones that involve the people, and you don't have those. And I have not seen one MLA that brought a motion to say it just has to be done within 3 months or has to be done within 4 months or demonstrating about it. Thirdly, who is now the leader of the independents? Who's now leading the independents?
We have not made a decision.
You see, that's what's wrong with independence. And
you didn't let me finish, though, Dr. Steve.
No, let him go through all his questions.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Doc. We'll treat that as a rhetorical question, and then they will answer it afterwards.
Yeah. If you study the history of the British Constitution and the development of the parliamentary system, the Westminster parliamentary system in the United Kingdom, and the people who adopted it all over the world, you'll see independents really have no place in that system. Independents really have not formed any governments in any of these parliaments and in this system. And one of the reasons why is that if you're an independent and have your own voice, and your voice is yours, and it does not belong to the party, by some party machinery, by some party ideology, by some party affiliation on writing, just like how you have in a company, where you have what directors can do and what shareholders can do and so forth. You're going to find that you cannot comply with the principles, the long developed principles of collective responsibility in the cabinet and to the people, to the legislature. If everybody has their own voice, that is why independents don't stand a chance in all of Canada or Jamaica or New Zealand or Australia or India or any of those seats where the British parliamentary system has taken root. Independents don't have a voice because they cannot stand collectively. And it reminds me of the characters in The Great Gatsby. Scott Fitzgerald. When Scott Fitzgerald wrote the Great Gatsby, you guys reminds me of those characters there. Traveling through the political system, and the realities before you, and you still become disillusioned with what's real and what's fiction. You don't have a leader because you do not have any mechanism for an automatic transfer from one leader to the next, like in a party system, And as long as you have this ad hoc thing, you're going to have this problem. Now, Mickey is right when he talks about the people in the past. They may not. Some of them, we had the Vanguard Party in the 1950s, and then we had the Christian Democrats and the National Democrats in the 1960s, and then afterward, we have the teams. One of the most successful teams there was from 1976 to 1984, the Unity team. They were not a de jure party; they were a de facto party. But they had their manifestos, and they all campaigned together in their manifestos. And Jim Borden, who was their leader, that they appointed leader, they obeyed their leadership. And they didn't go out and question each other in the public and wash their linen in the political arena. They did that behind doors. And when they came to the legislature, they were all of one voice. And when they came to the platform, they were all of one voice. This system that you guys are trying to install and trying to say that this is what your people are elected to do is not going to work. And the premier is right. The Prime Minister, the Premier, Alden McLaughlin is completely right. You guys will never be able to form a government with the system that you have, because how are you going to go into cabinet? How are you going to have an international platform when each one uses it's of a different voice, of a different opinion. That is what I have to say this morning. And it's, to me, it's just a joke. And it's just a joke. And it's just a fiction. Either you get together, you form a party where you have rules and regulations of what people can do, where you have mechanism where people who are dissatisfied with some of the things, they can vent their dissatisfaction in part of conferences and whatnot. Otherwise, this is what you're going to do. And the McLaughlin Party, the CDP, for instance, I wrote the constitution for that, and the UDP, I wrote the constitution for that. They will always remain in power. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doc, for that. Gentlemen, a lot
to
digest.
Starting with the coming back, where you had mentioned about the British parliamentary system taking root. First, I look at what's going on in the UK right now, and when I look at Brexit and everything else, and then I look at the recent recent local elections, what has happened there, I think if that is the best example of how party system works in the mother country, I yet to say it, we don't need that down here. Secondly, when they're talking about, and let me start off by saying, OC, politics, like anything else, needs to be organized, but it needs to be organized correctly. When you look at, and I'm going to put it out here now, and who want vex, because like I said before, this is not business to be nice. The constitution for the UDP, and this is not related, this is not for everybody that joined the UDP, because I can tell you, there were some members at the time when the UDP was formed, everybody was already elected. Let's establish that. When the PPM was formed, the elected people were already elected. Let's establish that. The UDP was formed, regardless of what the Constitution they say, for one thing and one thing only, to get rid of Kurt. Okay, and they decide, well, we're going to get rid of Kurt and we're going to do a party thing. But you still hadn't, everybody went inside there as independent members. When the PPM was formed, it was formed, when you get rid of the UDP and put Kurt back. That was the genesis where both parties started out with. Now, I can tell you there's some people, like I believe my representative Bodong at the time, solely believe that there is a place for organized politics. And I can tell you, there needs to be some level of organization. What I am not prepared to do and accept, and I don't care who want vex, and who don't like it. I am not prepared to say that here's a party and it's operating like a party, when in fact it is not. Where are the annual conferences for all of these parties that Mr. Macfield talk about? There's none. Where's the annual financial statements? How much money are they collecting? How much money are they spending? There is none. So when people talk about parties, no. These are a group of people who are just looking to grab power and hold on to power. He was talking about the people being the voice of the party. No. That's the problem. Everybody becomes the voice of the party. What happens to the voice of the people? I can tell you who the leader of the independent group is. The people. I can tell you who that is my leaders. The people of Boddington West. That is my leader. That is who it is that elect me, and that is who it is I represent. I don't give a hoot about what party is there or what party is trying to hold on to power, because the problem is people start focusing on holding on to power by any means, and the people get left behind.
Exactly.
There's a book right now that I'm reading, almost finished, called The Third Pillar, and it speaks about how the state and the market leave the community behind. The problem with politics, as with government and with everything else, they have forgotten that everything came from the community. Everything evolved from the community. And what has happened is that people have become so entrenched in their organized position that the people get left behind. So when the UDP and the PPM start having the annual conferences, when they start letting me know exactly who their donors are, where their money is coming from, how much money they're raising, who they're raising it from, and exactly who it is that owns them or who it is that is financing them, come speak to me about political parties. Then when you start operating like a party, but don't take a group of people who's just sitting down trying to grab onto power. The last time the UDP was in power, what happened to them? When the UDP had a full mandate, the premier, the colleagues wanted to leave, he wouldn't leave. We had to remove the premier. The last time the PPM had a full mandate in this country, they bankrupted the country. Since no political party have had a mandate, what have you seen now? Budget surpluses, things moving on, the economy doing good. You know why? Because none of them have a mandate to go bankrupt the country. None of them have a mandate to go out, even though you're talking about hypocrisy. Who criticized McKeever Bush more than Allen? All the traveling, going to bed in China Harbor, all that kind of stuff. When you look at the level of political hypocrisy, and they're telling us that as new legislators coming in, we must go build on that foundation that is not a foundation. And we think that this is going to make the country better. We think this is how we're going to move the country forward. When every other democracy around the world right now, you've seen a growth of independence because you know what? People have now become entrenched in the party. Look at what's happening in the Republican Party. They can't even keep the president account. They have forgotten their duties. When since there's someone set up by Article 2 of the Constitution can turn around and tell someone who set up by Article 1 of the Constitution to do. But that brings us another problem with our Constitution. When you look within our own Constitution, we're broken up into 9 parts of our Constitution. Part 1 is the governor, Bill of Rights. Part 2, the next section is the governor, then the cabinet, then the legislature. The legislature is where the people's voice is. That is all the way down behind the governor and behind the cabinet. It should have been the other way around. The people is supposed to be in charge. And this is the mindset that we need to change. So when people get up and talking about what's happening in England and what's happening in India, have you looked to see what's happening in those countries under the party system? That's the point. And you're telling me we must go blind and follow that when we have seen all of those countries failing right before us? The UK has become a joke. And for anyone who sit down here and believe that we're going to sit back and allow PPM to get a full mandate when they almost bankrupted the country the last time they got one. And the last time this UDP had a mandate, look at what happened. And we must go build on that. We must go fix that. Let me tell you something. This has been the problem with the development of parties in Cayman. Now, in Jamaica and other places around the Caribbean and elsewhere, the party system normally started like from a labor movement or a labor union or something else. It was some underlying reason that had brought these people together that was almost non-political. They had an agenda that they wanted to push, and then they realized the best way to push that agenda was through politics. So I agree.
The social issues.
There's a natural development. But as long as the development of Cayman politics is about me holding on to power,
or removing someone else,
then where does it come from naturally? Yeah. So for everyone who sit down and want to use this, this is the history and that kind of stuff, listen, there is no past, there is no future in the past. We are where we are, and it's how best we move this country forward. But I can tell you what, I will look at where we are in the Cayman Islands compared to every one of those countries where the two-party system have developed, and I'll take the Cayman any day of the week and twice on Sundays. This is why people who are in countries with established parties are leaving those countries and coming here to make a better life, because we have not allowed them to take the route that they have done and destroyed our country. It's not happening.
Good point to take a commercial break. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, formerly known as Professional Pharmacy, would like to thank the Cayman communities for their loyal support these past 18 years. Our staff work towards healthcare excellence and providing the most current and up-to-date training with pharmaceutical care. Thorough background checks and follow-up consultations is only the beginning. Your safety is our concern. Our staff are respected healthcare professionals whose job requires careful and precise calculations. Thank you for being a part of our family and for choosing CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, where we prepare to provide exceptional care. At CTMH Doctors Hospital Pharmacy, we care about your health.
They say cleaning your house never killed anyone, but why take chances? Spend your time doing what you love and leave the rest to Roper's Janitorial. Complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential with 24-hour emergency service. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511. Email janitorial@ropers.ky. Take back your life and get the job done right the first time. Roper's Janitorial, 949-2511.
Hello, I'm Joseph Woods, the Acting Port Director. Our port facility is the hub of the Cayman Islands commerce and economic activity, handling $658 million in imported goods annually. From groceries to construction materials, all sectors of our economy depend on the port. But it is now 40 years old. Its infrastructure is degrading, and we feel the strain from insufficient space for both cargo and cruise operations. The time is now. A new expanded port facility is needed to allow both cargo and cruise to operate efficiently and to support our island's continued growth and development. Support the port, support our tourism, support Cayman's continued growth and development.
Sounds of Expressions,
a Toastmasters event on May 29th at 6 p.m. at the Georgetown Town Hall.
An evening of intimate poetry and live music displayed by our Toastmasters and local musicians.
Admission only $10. All proceeds go towards our youth leadership program.
Come on down and support our youth as it promises to be a night of captivating entertainment. Sounds of Expressions. Tickets available at Sings Rotary Shop, a Toastmasters fundraising event proudly sponsored by Radio Cayman,
Star 92.7, Audio Wave,
The Performance Lab,
FunFet, Acorn Publishing, and Sings Roti Shop.
For the Record with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the Record with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. In the studio with me, MLA's Mr. Christopher Saunders and Mr. Alva Suku. Before I throw the mic back over to them, I have two WhatsApp messages that I want to read now. This one says, Morning OC, can you ask your guests if there are any plans to have MLA Kenneth Bryan involved in the vote for the new leader of the opposition or be a part of the official opposition again? That is one. And the other one says, Morning OC, given the fact that opposition members could not resolve their differences and stay together, it appears that if they had been able to establish a coalition government, then this government would have failed as well. I think, unfortunately, that this new development may prove to be the death blow of the independence.
First of all, let me completely agree. Let's go back to one established facts. The last political party that had a full mandate to lead this country was the United Democratic Party between 2009 and 2013. What happened there? The premier was removed 6 months before the term ended. That's a fact. Okay? So if people all of a sudden believe that the political parties are supposed to be Cayman's savior, I can tell you what, I'll prefer take the record of when an independent group of people got together prior to 2001 and what they did to this island in terms of developing it, and see what has happened to Cayman post the political parties. I will take their record any day of the week and twice on Sundays. Because the minute, at least I can tell as an independent, I am forced literally to stay close to the people, this, that, or whatever. You know why? Because I have no machinery behind me. I have no money coming behind me. I have to go and work like crazy. And that way, it forces me to deal with the people and stay with the people. The minute you get into this comfortable zone that I got machinery behind me, because the parties when they come in, the parties when they come in, let me tell you something. People forgetting one thing, Both Alva and I were members of political parties. And let me tell you what I found, being my time of a member of a political party. It is the easiest way for people with money to own politicians. I sat in their meetings. I've seen members, I've seen ministers of government come to political parties meeting. And the way in which they're treated and the disrespect shown to them, I even want to say to them, one of them, who was one of my representatives, you are not answerable to them. You're answerable to me. But there's a group of people in this country who wants to be elected, will never get elected, and the only way for them to get power is to go organize politicians and own them. OC, I can tell you right now, nobody not owning me other than the people that I am, that elected me.
Okay. But OC, and I can't stay quiet on this one. what I want to do, I want to challenge both the PPM and the CDP to let the country know how many actual signed up members they have. Because if the parties were so dominant and so in control, they wouldn't be ashamed about publishing that number, because they would have literally thousands of members signed up. But that leads to another question.
I want to see their finances.
If I call for that too, because we need to start actually requiring people who run in our elections to declare where all their money, all their contributions come from. I wouldn't have any problem doing that. But here's my concern, OC. If the parties were so dominant, had all this huge membership, Why is it that the last two administrations have relied on independence to form a government? In both instances, 2013, 2017, the premier had to go to independence to form a coalition. And in this last election, he had to go to his opposing party to be able to form a government. Now, that doesn't tell me, that doesn't convince me that the PPM machinery is the panacea of political parties. It tells me they have serious problems. They couldn't get a full mandate from the electorate twice. And I'm supposed to mirror what I'm doing at that failure to be able to get a mandate. I can't do that. It doesn't make practical sense. First of all, I'm an intelligent person, I think, so I wouldn't want to mirror my actions based on something that failed. And it has failed. Now, what I have seen in my experience with parties is that we don't really have parties here. What we have are vote-winning machinery. They fire it up just before election and they shut it down after the election. When is the last time either of the two parties consulted with the people, their membership, and took direction from them? They all had conferences prior to the election. I haven't heard of any since. 2 years in now, and they haven't gone back to their membership and said, how are we doing? What are we doing? I don't think that again, inspires any confidence in the parties that we have now. I'm not going to sit here and say that I don't believe in political parties, OC. If a party is founded on the principles from the grassroots, from on the social issues and the concerns of the people, and it grows organically, as the PPM started off. I know they started off that way. They came from the ground up. Mm-hmm. They were the people put them where they were, and that is why they were so successful that first time around, is because it was a groundswell of support, but it's because it grew from the people. What they have now transformed into is an entity that just is concerned with winning elections. That is it.
By any means.
Okay. The question in relation to Mr. Kenneth Bryan and being part of the...
First, I can tell you, we have our own chat groups, we have our discussion, and we all agreed that, this is a discussion we need to have with Kenneth, because here's what the public needs to understand. There are two sides in the Legislative Assembly. There's the government bench and the opposition. What it does when we say official opposition, it just means that we meet together, we discuss legislative issues together, we have an agenda where we go through. Now, there's a big difference between a legislative agenda and a political agenda. When we get together legislative agenda, those are where we have the motions, who's seconding the motions, why we're bringing this, why we want to bring this. And the reason you have those conversations is that you also want your other colleagues to go through and be able to contribute to the debate and basically help sell your point. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It requires a lot of...
And he's a part of that.
Yeah, and and I can tell you, there's different places Kenneth brings a lot to the table also. I'm not going to sit back and tell people no. You understand me? Then there's also a political agenda. But at the end of the day, I can tell you, the political agenda is what dictates the legislative agenda. Now, everybody has their different things that they're passionate about. Me, I am passionate about healthcare. I'm passionate about pension. I'm passionate about cost of living. That's not to say other people aren't. You know what I mean? But that's for me where my passion lies. You know what I mean? I hate the fact of people taking advantage of people. That's my passion. I don't expect what it is that drives somebody else. But I can tell you this much. You understand? If you think the other group don't have their problems too, you make a sad mistake. The only difference is they may hide them a little bit better, but we see them inside there. You can tell when you see votes coming up and members leaving because they're bound by collective responsibility, they just go missing from the room. Mm-hmm. But the point that I have a problem with, and I'm going to tell you, I take something like the FOI law. That law was literally gutted right before our eyes. And if you go back and you check the attendance, and I can tell you when they call for the division and the vote, people get up and run out the room. Because it was no. It was no unanimous thing. I wanted a division. And you go back and I tell the media, go and see who was present, who was in the chamber, and then we call for division, who ran out the chamber. These are the kind of stuff that people don't look at. So they will sit down and think, oh yeah, they're all Uncle over there. No, they're not. Trust me.
Okay, let's see if we can take one call. We have 3 callers. Let's see if we can take one before we go to the commercial break. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record.
Yes, good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Morning.
Okay.
Morning.
I have a question for Mr. Suku and
go right ahead with
Saunders, Mr. Saunders. From the year of 2000, how much money worth of concessions has the government given away? Because from what I've read and heard, for the last 4 to 5 years, they've given away hundreds of millions of dollars in concessions. And this money could be put towards a trade school fund to build trade schools for our young people that they can help with this construction work that is going on in the future. And also it could be put towards a pension fund for our Caymanian people after they retire. And one of the first places I would like to see the trade school would be in Georgetown, that everybody from the island can have access to it. And then the next one, Bordentown. And as the funds get bigger, the next one can be in East End or in West Bay. And then every district can have a trade school in this country. Okay. But it's not fair for the Caymanian people to be giving away hundreds of millions of dollars to billionaires in concessions, and then our young people don't have any part in building these new buildings. And when our Caymanians retire, they don't have any pension in place. So as members of the opposition, you all don't have to be the government to bring these types of things to the floor of the House and keep striving for them. Okay. And if the government doesn't agree with you, then just leave that up to the people when it comes to election time, including again. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller. Taking a commercial break. 2 more callers on hold. Ask them to hang in there. As soon as we return from the commercial break, we will take their calls.
Why my wife always asking if I'm in a rush when she's the one always making us late?
Might as well say, yeah, I'm in a rush and go buy the new Toyota Rush you've been talking about. Because they on sale this month. Dull, teacher.
The super special spring SUV sale at Vant Motors. Save up to $4,400 with SUVs starting at only $23,500, like the 7-seater Toyota Rush. Save money, get cash back, or use the discount to upgrade features on the SUV of your choice, including the Toyota RAV4, the Fortuner, the Rush, or the Ford EcoSport. It's our super special spring SUV sale. Only at Vant Motors, Walkers Road.
Rotaract Blue, in support of the Cayman Special Needs Community, present the 11th Annual Open Arms Gala, The Great Gatsby. Saturday, May 25th at Ristorante Papagayo. Cocktails begin at 6 p.m. 3-course dinner, award ceremony, silent auction at 7 p.m. Attire is Gatsby chic. Your ticket is only $100 per person. Your table only $1,500. Tickets available online at eventpro.ky or email president.rotaractblue@gmail.com. The Open Arms program promotes care, understanding, and non-discrimination for disabled persons. The Great Gatsby by Rotaract Blue. Inspiration to the next generation.
It's Radio Cayman's 43rd anniversary. And to celebrate, we're offering all clients, businesses, and nonprofits special anniversary rates on commercial advertising all through April up until Mother's Day. Increase sales, drive store traffic, and gain customers and interest by advertising on the #1 station in talk radio and news. Radio Cayman 89.9 FM. 30 or 45-second commercials are as low as $10 with 3 advertising packages to choose from. Perfectly tailored for small, medium, or large businesses. Call Anita, Kathy, or Ray at 949-7799 or email rcsales@gov.ky for your Radio Cayman 43rd anniversary sales package today.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matter. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. Before we go back to the phone lines, Mr. Chris Saunders wants to respond to the last caller.
No, the last caller touched on the issue of concessions and the old trade school issue. But I one thing is clear from the call-in is that we need to do a better job of the proceedings in the Legislative Assembly, because even what the banks were charging for checks, that was something we dealt with in the Legislative Assembly. Mm-hmm. We dealt with also at the Public Accounts Committee. So there are a lot of issues, and I think we need to sit down and work out, I guess, amongst ourselves as legislators, how best we can get a lot of stuff in the domain. But again, we are, I guess, somewhat dependent on the media, I guess, to report on certain things which doesn't get touched. I know GIS try to do as good a job as they can in terms of put the legislative proceedings out, and I know Rita Cayman carries it at night also. But it's clear that, I guess, we need to sit down and find a better ways to put more of this stuff in the public domain so people can see exactly what it is that we're tackling. Because a lot of the stuff, in the new license plate that one person called about, there was something, again, that was extensively done at the last finance committee.
Or maybe the legislature should meet at night rather than in the day when people, and it's carried live, when more people have available time
we clearly need to do a better job in terms of
the thing is, you have it broadcast live on radio, you have it rebroadcast at night, but you also have the GIS live streaming.
Exactly.
So I think what has happened is the media sort of drives the agenda, and they don't pick up more than 10% of the stories.
And people rely on that.
We need to find a better way of getting it.
Okay, let's grab the callers. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record.
Hello.
Yes, welcome back, caller.
Good morning. I didn't know if I was on or not because I didn't. It's as Mr. Saunders, I think it was, said, or it might have been Mr. Siku. We get a lot of different conversations, most of it around politics. But my question still remained about the health insurance, which to me is the paramount thing right now.
Caller, let's not relitigate that, though. If there's something else that you want to talk about, please.
Yes, because it makes no sense for you. I'm not getting anywhere. But you're saying then that an independent system where if enough independents got elected, and how you do it, you get together and have talks between you all, what you should bring forward in the Legislative Assembly, what you agree on, what you don't agree on, which might take months and months, then getting together instead of having a party caucus or an official party or going. And you'll be able to get to the people more as independents and then find out from the 19 different constituents what the people want. And this is what you're going to bring. And that's sort of the way that things should be done. And bearing in mind is what you said about being third down the line as far as government or importance of the different parts of government are. Because we're, of course, a British colony, I call it, or a crown colony, or territory, whichever you choose. Same allegiance to Her Majesty, first of all, most important. And Her Majesty's representative governor is actually the final say here. That is how you would figure it would go then. We'd get together in meetings and talk.
That's what the Premier is saying is happening now, right? With the three different entities that are represented in the government.
The last two governments have been coalition.
Yeah, so that's what the Premier says is working.
Well, I remember people particularly saying that a lot of people who are now pushing against the government or pushing against this, saying that they wish the members of the Legislative Assembly would get together and agree on some things, and then a coalition government is there where they got together, former opponents or former political enemies, whatever you want to say, because politics breeds strange bedfellows, and that now they're dissatisfied with that. So in other words, it's be a difficult thing to satisfy these disunited, ununited people, and it's much more divided now with the 19. The one question I'd like to ask, and I'll hang up and shut up and listen on, because I'm not really getting anywhere with you gentlemen, is shouldn't there be an elected, a voter's office, an elector's office where you go and vote in every district, since you have 19 electoral districts? Shouldn't there be a polling station in each district? 19 polling stations. Shouldn't it be that way? Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much, caller, for that. Do we still have the other caller, Ms. Susan? No call. I want to respond to the last question that the caller had. Physically, it is very difficult.
What?
To have a polling station in every constituency.
But in the election, we have polling stations in every constituency. Last election, we had 19 polling stations.
Yeah, we had them, but they may not have been physically located within the physical boundaries of the constituency itself.
But I think they were
pretty close to it.
I am sorry. I write with pen. I don't write with crayons. What was the question?
He just says that shouldn't we have voting polling stations in every constituency, 19 constituencies.
Like a permanent building that's always there as...
No, I think I believe for people to be able to, on election day, on voting day, to vote there. Because, for instance, you may have the school, John Gray and George Hicks, and people go to vote there from different constituencies, maybe Georgetown South,
I have the second largest. You see, this has been I'm the second largest constituency in terms of numbers behind Bordentown East. In my constituents, there are no schools.
Yeah.
There are no government buildings in my constituents. And I think there are maybe about 9 or 11 businesses small that runs other people's home, and then their houses. You know what I mean? So to speak about, I guess, going and setting up something or somebody's house or whatever, the people of Bordentown West vote at the agricultural pavilion. At Bordentown East, I think they voted at the schools. You know what I mean? In Savannah, they voted at the school.
Primary school and then ICCI.
Yeah, Newlands. I don't think about. Let's establish.
And does it really have an impact on anything? It would be the other question.
The elections, I think,
it's not if
you're going to go out there and vote,
you've been deputy returning elections officer for how long? I mean, you tell me. I can tell you. I want to say something here, and we need to put some things in context. Earlier, we were talking about what it is that happened, I think, with the Jamaica, with the parliament and everything else. No, we need to look in terms of the system that we have. Because one political lesson that I've been taught more than anything else, and this is what someone had said to me, and open by repeating it enough, people can understand where I'm coming from. I remember asking a very senior politician in Caribbean, politician a question, and he reversed the question to me and forced me to answer it. Something related to Cayman. And he said to me, he says, Chris, one of the biggest challenges we have in the Caribbean, we have had some of the best and brightest leaders. The problem is they were educated in first world and countries that were already developed. He says you can't take that, what it takes a country that's 1,000 years old or a country that's hundreds of years old, and bring it back to a country where you are at a particular time in development. No, unfortunately for us, we're very Americanized. We see the American TV, we see the commercials, we see everything that's going on. What it took them 243 years to get to, since being whatever from the UK, from the British, where we are still in our infancy in terms of development. You know what I mean? You have to go through the teething process. But one thing he said to me, Chris, start with where your people is, go forward together. And this is why when people take stuff like same-sex marriage, that the United Kingdom only legalized in, I think, 2013. The United States only legalized in 2015. And then you want to take that, something like that, and just say to Cayman people overnight, take that.
Yeah. And the UK still hasn't fully implemented it throughout the UK.
You go to some states in the US, they'll kill you for that stuff still down there.
Let's grab a caller. Caller, good morning. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record. Good morning, caller. Welcome to For the Record. Folks, gentlemen, I'd like to share something with you from Mr. Orman Pallen's book. He talks about 1961 when internal self-government loomed for the Cayman Islands, and pointed out that it was quite obvious that his uncle, Mr. Panton, Mr. Ernest Panton, did not support him as being chief minister. And he says, it goes on, the book goes on to say, but he pressed on with the formation of Cayman's first substantial political party. A few years earlier, the Vanguard political party had come into existence in Georgetown with Spencer Rose, Val Anderson, and Warren Connolly as founders, but it had come to naught. In retrospect, the execution of a ministerial system was predicated on the existence of partisan politics. The UK had indicated as such, and indeed, following the Lancaster House talks on federation, the British government had printed thousands of file jackets for Cayman with the heading of the various ministries as they would function under the coming system. Panton recalls seeing the piles of file jackets in Government House in Grand Cayman. There was going to be a chief minister, a minister for social services, a minister for trade, works and communications, and an attorney general. The intention was that the country would be run by these four in a council of ministers presided over by a lieutenant governor. He would have no vote, that is the lieutenant governor, who would be appointed by Britain after consultation with the chief minister. So not long after we got back, I called Willie Farrington to talk about the formation of a party and invited him to join me. He said, "You go ahead and form the party and I'll join you later." Well, the minute I heard that, I knew what he meant. He didn't want me as chief minister either. Sometimes around September 1961, I got together with Teacher McField, Warren Connolly, Val Anderson, and Anton Borden, and we agreed to form a party. And soon after that, I went to Jamaica to talk with Manley and get his advice on how to set it up. He was very helpful, said we were doing the right thing, and he laid out everything before me. In fact, funnily enough, as I was there with Manley, Eric Williams came in, and he was also going back to Trinidad to strengthen his political party there, which was called the PNM. Williams had a droll sense of humor, and he said he would have to do his party work on a bicycle, and he had no car. Manu was a very amiable man, but Williams, as I recall, was a bit standoffish when you got to know him. So that the point there was in relation to the formation of political parties. You hear us talking about the Vanguard Party and everything else. Got to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back to you, Chris. Yeah. Folks, please stay tuned for the record. We'll be back shortly.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Rotaract Blue, in support of the Cayman Special Needs Community, present the 11th Annual Open Arms Gala, The Great Gatsby. Saturday, May 25th at Ristorante Papagayo. Cocktails begin at 6 p.m. 3-course dinner, award ceremony, silent auction at 7 p.m. Attire is Gatsby chic. Your ticket is only $100 per person. Your table only $1,500. Tickets available online at eventpro.ky or email president.rotaractblue@gmail.com. The Open Arms Program promotes care, understanding, and non-discrimination for disabled persons. The Great Gatsby by Rotaract Blue. Inspiration to the next generation.
Real estate agents and developers, as well as dealers in precious metals and stones, have until Wednesday, May 29th to register with the Department of Commerce and Investment. The DCI is the agency with responsibility for ensuring real estate agents and developers, as well as dealers in precious metals and stones, are compliant with international obligations relating to anti-money laundering and combating the financing of terrorism. DCI urges businesses to register as soon as possible to avoid missing the deadline on May 29th. Registration forms are available from www.dci.gov.ky or the DCI counter at the Government Administration Building. For further details, please contact enforcement@dci.gov.ky.
For the record, with Orrett Connor.
Initiating system.
For information that matters. For the record, with Orrett Connor. Continues right now on Radio Cayman.
Good morning and welcome back to For the Record. We have about 10 minutes left to go in the show. We keep losing a caller, and unfortunately, we're going to close the phone lines off now to give my two guests here an opportunity for closing comments and any other responses to some of the. No, we lost the call again.
Okay.
Well, we didn't lose him. The caller has had issues with his phone, but still lost.
Yeah.
Well, well, thank you for having us on again. Clearly, we're going to continue to come on the show and hopefully enlighten the people and give some of the I think the background and what is happening now. I want to assure everybody, before we go into the legislature again, there will be a leader of the opposition.
Okay.
And we will be organized.
And you're going back in the legislature in June, right?
In June,
yes,
is the planned time. So, all that is going to happen quickly. We haven't rushed to do anything because we have continued to operate as we always have. In the absence of a leader, we're still, Chris and I are still sitting here. Mr. McLean could take a much needed break. Mr. Eden is still on the ground in Bordentown doing what he does best. So, we're still functioning.
Where will Mr. Bernie Bush be in this?
Bernie's a government member. You tried to get the man in trouble. Come on. I don't know what Bernie. Bernie's a member of the government bench.
Yeah, he's on the government bench.
Okay. Trying to get Bernie in trouble.
Kenneth is an independent member of sitting on the opposition bench. So, we'll have some discussions with him. We'll talk about the future. But
the reason I asked that was because he seconded some motions
for Kenneth.
For Kenneth, yeah. So we worked across the floor.
Surprise, Alan, not allowed.
But you're not going to tell Bernie Bush that he can't do it.
Exactly.
But there's no crisis. We will be organized. We will be ready. We just need to sit down and finalize what we've already started discussing and how to move forward. So don't allow people to penetrate your minds and think that there's some constitutional crisis happening here.
Yes.
There's nothing. We're just going to take our time and do what we have to do best. What I really hope came out of this session here today is that we've dispelled some of the myths that have been put out there by the premier. Clearly, he has an interest in promoting what serves him best and his government best or his party best. So he's going to do that. I can't wrong him for that. That's politics. That's how it works. We're going to put out our points of views and we're going to hopefully convince the public that what we have to say is important too. But at the end of the day, it's up to the public, the people, to decide what they think is best for this country and to vote along those lines. And that's what democracy is about. I'm not scared to face that. And I don't engage in propaganda and putting out misinformation and trying to contort the truth to assist myself in doing that. I believe that a lot of people tell me that I don't believe in having hidden agendas. I carry my feelings on my sleeve, and I think most people see that, and I'm going to continue to do that. So I'm going to shoot straight, tell it how it is, and hopefully that will win me the respect and support of those that I need it from, in order to continue to do what I consider the greatest honor in my life, represent them. And until the people of Newlands decide that I'm no longer doing that, then I will gracefully accept that. But I don't want anyone to believe that what I'm doing is motivated at just winning the next election. I am doing what I think is best for this country, what is best for my constituency and the people that I serve. And I'm going to continue to do that despite the criticism and who wants to say what. They're entitled to their opinion. I'm entitled to mine. And I'm going to go forward the best way I see fit to do it.
Fair enough. Chris?
Well, see, thanks for coming. And what people, last week Friday, Alva and I was on. And that's about every single day between last Friday and this Friday. Alva and I have been on the phone 2-3 times a day on different issues that we want to address. And this morning confirms with us exactly what is wrong with our politics and why a lot of our people feel the way they feel marginalized. We spent a great deal of time this morning speaking about party versus independent. Oh, people should get elected, whether as a group on their own. And in doing so, we didn't get a chance to sit down and talk about the challenges within our education system. You know, where the kids are, this new graduation date that is being proposed, having those discussions. You know, the school inspection reports on the different schools, what can be done to make those things better. By sitting down here talking about this issue, well, I'm not going to chance to even touch on the cost of living. One person had called in spoke about insurance premiums, what it is that the banks are charging. These are the pocketbook issues that affect our people. Oh, Chris, Alva, Alden, McKeever, and anybody get elected. The way in which we get elected is insignificant compared to what it is that we're tasked to do. You know, by sitting here, we're looking at the healthcare issue that I spoke about. We got the pensions that has been unfunded, and the good thing about coming here this morning, it says to me at least, and I can probably speak for Alva in this regard, and some of our colleagues, is that a lot of the stuff that we're tackling within the Legislative Assembly is not getting out to the public, and we need to do a better job of getting that information out to the public. Now, I've been critical because I've been told I write too long, I write too much, and I get into too much details, but that, again, is my default position. And people are saying to me when I send out my long WhatsApp messages, Chris, just send me some short bullet points. I can't dumb down policy to a bullet point. I have to be able to say to you, if you're paying 10% pension for a year, it takes you 10 years to earn 1 year's salary. You know, if you work for 50 years, you'll have 50 years salary saved. If you retire at 65 and they expect you to die at 82, that's 17 years you're going to live. How can 5 years, how do you make 5 years salary stretch to 17 years? You can't. You know, and what really scares me the most, and this is not to take from the callers, and I'm glad for the younger people who call in and message in terms of they're the ones who more, I expect to be, like myself, concerned about the future because we intend to live there. This is not to take anything from anyone, but I can tell you, I do also have a problem for the many people who have been there for yesteryear who had an opportunity to not create this problem and did nothing. I'm going to say this much, and people may not like it. Part of going through preparing for the 2017 elections and I looking at my candidate profiles, when I did my first polling, the candidate who was the greatest chance to me was Gilbert McLean. So I said, you know what? I'm going to go and look at Gilbert McLean's record to see what advantages I can get, what bad decisions he made and everything. And a lot of the information is there, legislativesssembly.ky. And also, I can be honest with you, Gilbert has been on the right side of history for so many times. And so has his colleague Roy Borden. Nobody listened to them.
Yeah.
Because you know what? We have always been concerned about the now, and nobody's looking about the tomorrow. Nobody's looking about the down the road. We just keep kicking the can down the road. You go back, particularly what caught my attention was the debate when they were getting rid of the Caymanian Protection Board. Go and read Gilbert's contribution to it when they were doing away with it. Every single thing he said what would have happened. You know what I mean? These are the kind of things.
Okay.
So
very quickly, I'm going to need about a minute to read something about a funeral.
Okay, yeah.
Sure.
So from that standpoint, with the failures in the immigration system, we have Ofreg not doing their job. We got the ICE internet, one of the ICE internet rates in Cayman. Can't get proper coverage, can't even get proper bandwidth speed. All that kind of stuff costs us killing people, but yet we come here and all we're talking about is political parties versus independents, or we get elected. So who's doing the work for the people? Anyway,
thank
you. We'll next week, so that's fine.
Before you go, the family of the late Andrew Bush wants to put out some information in relation to the funeral proceedings, and it says here that additional parking, because of the road closures that will be taking place, additional parking for the funeral service of Andrew Bush at 3 p.m. tomorrow, that is Saturday, the 11th, being held at Community of Christ Church across from the police station on Elgin Avenue, is being provided on the 2nd to the 4th floors of the Hobbies and Books parking building. That will be open from 1 p.m. Police are aware and working to assist with accessing through the road blockage. And the Bush family sincerely appreciates and thanks Radio Cayman for this announcement. So, parking will be available. The funeral will take place at the Community of Christ Church across from the police station and adjacent to Godfrey's store there. Parking will be available on the 2nd and to the 2nd to 4th floors of Hobbies and Book parking building. The Royal Cayman Islands Police Service will be assisting in getting people through the roadblocks to that location as well. Folks, I want to thank you for allowing Radio Cayman and by extension For the Record into your homes, into your vehicles as you traverse the busy roads of the Cayman Islands into your places of work, whether it be an office cubicle or if you're working in the outdoors. I also want to remind you we are our brothers and our sisters' keepers. There is always someone out there who's less fortunate than we are, and I ask you to extend a helping hand to them. If you can't do that, then I suggest you donate to a worthy charity, because we always want to consider those who need, not necessarily those who want or even those who crave. I say to you, have a great day. Continue to support your radio station, Radio Cayman. Join Sterling Dwayne Banks at 12:15 for Talk Today. For all of you mothers out there, have a great, great, great Mother's Day on Sunday. And all of you children, make sure that your mother has an enjoyable day, not only on Sunday, but every day of the week. Take care. God bless.
For the Record is brought to you by Vamped Motors, the only authorized Ford and Toyota dealership serving the Cayman Islands. Cayman Pharmacy Group, with a location in West Bay and professional pharmacy at CTMH Doctors Hospital. The Cayman Pharmacy Group has a location for you just around the corner. Seaboard Marine, with over 35 shipping ports, find your shipping solution by calling 949-4977 or visit seaboardmarine.com for competitive rates. Rotary Central, for more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. And Roper's Janitorial, complete janitorial service for commercial, industrial, and residential. They get the job done right every time.
Radio Cayman.